I'm Professor Dungeon Master of Dungeon Craft.
And I'm Baron DeRopp from Dungeon Masterpiece.
And today we do a playtest review of DAGGERHEART from Darrington Press. Stay tuned for Dungeon Craft. Welcome to Dungeon Craft. I'm Professor DM, and this channel is about all things tabletop role-playing games.
And I'm Deathbringer. Like, subscribe, and sign up for the Deathbringer RPG newsletter.
Before I forget, I'm going to be at GenCon doing some seminars, and there are tickets available at the links below. They are Deathbringer. We'll have a sneak peek in my own role-playing game. Less exposition, more demolition, and how to run a kick-ass YouTube channel. That's with Baron DeRopp. I'm looking forward to that and meeting you. And today I am joined with Baron DeRopp of Dungeon Masterpiece. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
All right, this weekend we played DAGGERHEART. I sort of did a read-through review a couple weeks ago, and I remarked that the game has high production values. The book is very well bound, the art is of very high qualities, and the cards are of very high qualities. But how does the game of DAGGERHEART actually played? Well, we sat down with a buddy of ours, we'll just call him Bob, and he ran a couple of sessions for us and our friends, and we're going to give you our thoughts today. The core mechanic, in case you don't know, it's based around two 12-sided dice. You roll them at a modifier and try to roll better than a target number. The dice are of different colors. One represents hope, one represents fear. If you succeed with hope, that is to say, the hope die is higher, you get a hope point, which you can then spend later to re-roll dice, essentially. And if the fear die is higher, the Game Master gains a fear token, which they save up, and they can use to make monster attacks. What's innovative about the game is there is no initiative system. Instead, I think it's the players start out first. Do they?
Yeah, the players start out first.
And they will retain the initiative and can keep on attacking as long as they keep rolling higher with the hope die. You can spend your hope pool to augment each other's attacks, essentially.
Right.
You could spend a hope to re-roll your own die, or you could spend one to allow another player to get a bonus d6. So you can help them make their roll. And you're supposed to describe the effects, like what does it look like when you succeed with fear? Or what does it look like when you succeed with hope? So there's this narrative element to the game. And what I found is that was quickly dropped in favor of just, well, you succeed or fail, and we just assign the hope and fear dice. Right?
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed is for damage, you roll your damage die, you add a modifier to that, but then you have to convert that into how many hit points of damage, and you score 1, 2, or 3 hit points of damage. Then you might subtract armor from that, right? Because you have an armor rating, and you can sacrifice a point of armor to reduce incoming damage. And then at the end, if you take a long rest, all your hit points are restored.
And you get bonus hope points as well.
Deathbringer here. I heard a human once wept, for there were no more worlds to conquer. Fool! He should have grabbed his gods by the throat and made them build him a new world with Tailspire. Dun 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 da. That makes no sense to me.
You're supposed to do it Beavis and Butthead style.
What is a Beavis?
So while we were playing the game, I initially thought, wow, this particular aspect does this better than 5th edition. And I keep making the 5th edition comparison as I talk about like how you get different pools of meta currency in order to spend on different character abilities. I thought I was initially very impressed with how it does specific things better than 5th edition in a way that balances out, well, I have this particular pool of these meta currencies like hope points or so on that I can, or stress that I can spend on other aspects of specific abilities in order to bolster them, or I can pass those things to other characters so that they can do things at a at a better skill level. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized instead of limiting my options, I actually am increasing the amount of paperwork that I have to do in order to see which options are even things that I can undertake, let alone be viable. So I started to realize that that was why combat was just as slow in 5th edition as it is in Daggerheart. So I think those were some of my initial takes.
Yeah, if anyone thinks that Daggerheart combat is going to be somehow faster than 5th edition, I just think objectively that isn't true.
Right.
There are a lot of moving parts to this game, and there's a lot of steps. 2 12-sided dice, adding a modifier, figuring out which one is higher, then assigning a hope or a fear die, then rolling a damage die, adding a modifier to that, converting that into damage, maybe subtracting armor and negating it, or subtracting it from your hit points, which you recover pretty much at the end of a long rest. So that's a lot of steps for nothing to happen.
Yeah, that's really true. It's really, once you pointed it out, I realized you roll a d6 plus 3 for a longbow or a shortbow attack, and then you refer to a table that says, well, if you rolled more than X damage, then you do 2 points of damage instead of 1. So why not just decide that I rolled 1 damage, because it's almost impossible to roll 2 damage instead? Why am I even rolling the die to start with?
I rolled several times, 2 or 3 times, maximum damage, and I'm like, yay! But then you convert it, and it's just like, oh, I scored 2 hit points damage. It's somewhat underwhelming to me.
Yeah. Something I also noticed about the game, which I thought was really collaborative building at first, by being able to spend hope points in order to bolster the abilities of your teammates, I thought, oh wow, this is actually going to help actual play on YouTube, because people will be able to pass around their hope points in order to get those nice whiz-bang moments when you're really building a collaborative story. But the more I stopped and thought about it, I was like, wait a minute. All of the other problems that exist with 5th edition that get in the way of improvisational storytelling are still here in Daggerheart. And all of these, these little metacurrency exchanges are slowing down the ability of people to improv and riff off of one another.
Like and subscribe. It really helps the channel.
The more I think about it, I actually think that despite Daggerheart being designed by an actual play group, it's not at all suitable for actual play. I think something like Easy D6 is actually something that's more built toward collaborative storytelling that would be beneficial toward actual play, where you don't have to worry about how far away certain tokens are on a map. I thought that Daggerheart was supposed to be a replacement for 5th edition for an actual play franchise, and I don't think it's going to deliver that very well. It does have high production value. Yeah. The binding of the book is stellar. Like the actual book itself is a fantastic artifact. It's really what I think is a good gold standard for what a mass-produced, like a mass-market RPG book should look like. Very, very high quality art. Very good. The paper quality is also really nice. So the amount of effort that went into the design, the layout, all of that is really good. The monster stat blocks are much more terse in the core rule book as opposed to the 5th edition stat blocks. That was refreshing to see. I did a little bit of thumbing through the book. I might do a review on my channel where I go in through it in far more depth, but the production of the book itself was good. But the game feels like it's a lot of subsystems crammed together.
And what do you think? You can share in the comments below if you have played Daggerheart. Also below, you'll find links to Dungeoncraft on Patreon, as well as the Deathbringer newsletter. You can subscribe to that. Thanks for stopping by, and may all your rolls be
20s.
For more Baron DeRopp, click on the Lost City. It's at 99,000 views. That's so frustrating. So watch more Dungeoncraft.